Cheers.
How many pictures are on Yelp? Pull up all these pictures and you're like, oh, that's the dessert you're eating? All right, Michelle. That's the candle? Okay, that's the same candle. I know where you're at.
45 minutes to an hour.
45 minutes to an hour. Wait, can you run that long? No offense.
That's how I got married, dog. You know, first date, bro.
Was that what you did?
Yeah, my first date with her.
And look at
I think a guy's more comfortable being alone than a girl, but I mean, that's a whole nother
You think so? First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for listening. Welcome to the Men Don't Know podcast. I'm the man of many friends, your host and creator, Chris Boone. And here on the podcast, we talk with a bunch of guys. We ask a bunch of women questions over wine and cocktails. Whether you listen to it on Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you downloaded that Men Don't Know podcast app, I can't thank y'all enough. Hit me up on Instagram at Men Don't Know, Twitter at Men Don't Know 1. Shoot me an email, Chris at mendontknow.com, or hop on the mendontknow.com website and shoot me a message. Corey, my guy. We back. How you doing?
What's going on today?
Not much. Today, a lot of people have been asking me how this all happened. Us. A lot of people don't know our length of friendship, how this podcast started, how I'm able to call so many people. So I figured I'd just break it down real quick today. So check it out. First, 2019, I think it was I was like, damn, I want to do a podcast.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, this was like probably January, February-ish. And it wasn't like the hot thing to do, but it was like, I was like, I've always had people at my house chilling, hanging out. We was always asking these type of questions. We've always been the people that hung out. We've always went to clubs with women and friends, and we've always been social.
Been around.
Yeah, you call social butterflies. So I was like, damn, I want to do that. And at first, I was like, okay, let me get everybody in a group chat and see who wants to do it. So, I always had the idea of a married guy, single guy in a relationship, and a divorced guy. And I hit the boys up, put it in the group chat, and everybody was kind of gave excuses and can we do this Zoom and yada yada yada. And it was just too much. And you were in that group chat, and you were like, I think when we first started out, you were looking at us like, dog, this is never gonna work. There's too many.
I wasn't looking like that. I was just like,
there's too many hands in the pot, type of thing.
I wanted to just be the electronics guy on it.
So I was like, fuck it. I'll just, I'll do it myself and I'll figure it out. So I spent from, I think, February to June building it out.
Okay.
And I went on YouTube, learned how to do everything, figured out what was the best equipment, started getting the mics, everything. I knew I wanted to be over wine and cocktail. I know. We had to, there was only one in the city. So not even the city. No, there was only one in SoCal, and we drove all the way to the valley to get it.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. So we end up getting it. I end up building it out. I end up using the platform Libsyn, which made it so much easier. Like I could do everything, and it was one-stop shop where it distributed to everybody. I figured out how I wanted to do it, who I wanted to do it with, and it just, a lot of things didn't unfold the way I wanted to, but I knew I could just get it going. And once you get the car running, I guess, when you're building a classic car, once you get the car running, that's half the battle. So that was like the birth of the podcast. And it just kept being random people, and the podcast was way too long. I realized because of wine and cocktails, people were getting fucking wasted and I was like that.
And plus, a lot of people, everybody's got to get their shit out too.
Yeah.
Off their chest,
Yeah. So it started being a 2-3 hour podcast. And I was just like, I like it, but what I was getting feedback from, and then I started looking up analytics on it about drive time and how long do people spend in the car and interest, and I always kept somebody's break in mind or lunch in mind and stuff like that. I realized that a podcast had to be under 30 minutes. because everybody has drive time and their first break, and that's all I usually base it on. Average drive time for a Californian is about 40 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I kind of started basing things off of that. You kind of came in and started like being a regular when you came in. You're like, oh, I'm just here for the free drinks, and that's how it started. and I noticed that everybody was like, damn, you and Coy like are really good together mixing off each other. And people, and hundreds and hundreds of people kept asking me, hey, how you know Coy? How long y'all know Coy? Like, y'all like just, and I was like, so me and Coy met 20 years ago?
20 years ago.
Yeah,
probably.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Me and Coy met at work 20 years ago. And we weren't kicking it like that. We weren't.
Not in the beginning.
Yeah, not in the beginning. We weren't kicking it like that. And then, like, we started working together more and being on the same shifts and stuff like that. So we started building a friendship. And before the podcast, we started traveling. I think a couple times, like, you were traveling with my friends, and I wasn't traveling with y'all yet, or I wasn't hitting Vegas with y'all yet. But I knew a guy a promoter at a club, so I would always bring a bunch of girls, and then you start tagging along. And then we started building up more and more of a friendship, and we started hitting clubs more. And then me and you used to drive out on the low key, like to LA to hit these clubs on like Wednesday night. And because it was just me and you and like promoter friends knew us, like it didn't matter. We'd just get walked right in and we'd hang out. And I remember a lot of times we were in the club with like athletes because it'd be a Wednesday night after like a basketball game.
Like at the clock, I got school in 3 hours.
Yeah. And we just built a bond like that. And then we started, did we travel first or did we start shooting weddings first?
I mean, did a million Vegas years.
I think we ran into Vegas.
Bar
yeah.
years.
I think, but we turned Vegas into like a weekly thing.
Yeah, there was a time it was bad.
I remember it was so bad where we used to always order room service. We used to stay at a hotel. I don't want to name names, so I'm getting promo off. We stay at a hotel. Mind you, it was a high-end hotel. Very high. 5-star? Is that a 5-star?
4 or 5.
4 or 5. I don't know. It's high up there on the strip. Anyways, we would stay there, and we'd always get a suite, and the randomest thing happened. This guy served us, our bellhop served, or
the room service.
Room service guy. He brought us food we went to a day club on Sunday, and then we left for 3 days, and we came back on a Thursday. When we got there, we had room service before we went out, and the same bellhop guy came up and brought us room service again, and he was like, hey, what's up? Chris, Coy, how's it going? I was like, what? What do you mean? He was like, yeah, you guys were here on Sunday. I was like, oh my God, like we really are doing this thing. And through all of that, like we met a bunch of women and we were just hanging out and partying. We got to do some we've done so many things that we're, through our friends and just partying and everything. We started traveling together. We did Colombia twice.
Yeah.
We've done Barcelona,
Spain,
Philippines,
recently.
Philippines recently, and then COVID hit because we were gonna do London and a couple other places, but COVID hit, and that's how we grew our bond. It was a 20-year bond. I started shooting weddings. You hopped on. You shot weddings with me. Yeah. So we've always done everything together for I would say 15 at least.
Yeah.
15 years, everything together. So like it'd be crazy for you not to be on this. Looking back at it now, Coy.
Just because the stories. And like to tell you guys too, there's a lot of shit we can't say on it.
There's a lot of stories y'all don't know about things that happen. But I mean, that's why it works so well, because of the fact that we've literally have hung out, I guess you could say 90%. We hang out 90% of the year together.
But also because of the experiences that we've had going out and seeing people and like you could kind of like adapt to stories.
100%.
You're not so surprised by shit that you hear and stuff.
Nah, absolutely
versus
not.
people that don't really get out much.
Yeah, I can say something because 9 times out of 10 you were right there.
Yeah.
Like easily 9 times out of 10. And, as far as, so that's how we built that relationship. That's why you see it so well on the podcast. And that's why, it's, I couldn't, there would be, it's like the yin without the yang. It would not work out if that bond wasn't created. And then people always ask me about, how do I know all these women? Like, and it goes back to, I think when I was 18, I was dating this girl. I took her to get her nails done. And back then, she got her feet and nails done. I think it was like $50. I don't know, something crazy. And I was like, what the fuck, $50? I was like, I can't read something and do it, but I can look at something, watch someone do it, and then copy it. So I went to Marinello's, and I don't even know why I'm dropping the name. But anyways, to become a manicurist, I did the class. I did all the testing and everything. That. Yeah. And I was in the class first week. I started doing girls' nails, and all the girls were there. We were rocking out, and no offense, I've always had women around me. So, and anybody that knew me and knows me can attest to I've always had women around. And I guess the reason why it works is because I didn't sleep with all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm able to call them my friends, and I'm able to call them on the podcast. From doing nails, one of the girls there, she's like, hey, if you're this good at this, you should go to makeup school. So I went down to Mud in Burbank, and I went to the makeup class, and I had to do kind of like a prerequisite or girl wanted to see if I was serious. So she made me take like this pop-up class they were doing. It was like $100. And I showed her that I could, I airbrush foundation, and she was like you got talent. So she showed me how to airbrush and spray tan. From there, I was like, well, shoot, all the girls were telling me how, Di, you're good. You should just keep rocking with this. So I was like, well, shit, I think at this time we started, popping in and out of the strip club and stuff like that and going out, and people found out that I spray tan. So I had girls coming to my house, and I was spray tanning at night 24/7, like Thursday through Saturday. I was spray tanning nothing but women. I did I did spray a couple of my homeboys for bodybuilding competitions and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, if you were paying, I was, I'm a hustler. I'm going to get to the bag.
Yeah.
And from there, my boy was roommates with another guy that worked, that did hair shows. And so he asked me, hey, we're looking for another guy that, that wants to sell hair extension courses, do hair extensions, and, yada, yada, yada. So I traveled with a hair show for 2 years in the midst of working with you, Coy. We were shooting weddings from time to time, and, and spray tanning when I got back home. So it was, I was, no offense, I was cooking. I was just meeting women, staying in touch, just doing our thing. And from hair extensions, I think that was the last hoorah to where I got back into shooting weddings, and weddings kind of took off, and I think COVID finally hit, and now we're back 2019, and I do all this. I build the podcast, infrastructure up, and I knew I didn't want to pay for advertising, but I wanted to market it I wanted to turn an idea to a podcast to a brand into a lifestyle. And I was like, I've always been creative. Everybody knows I've always designed shirts. Coy can attest to it. I used to wear a shirt down to, the college bars that it said blow the whistle, and I had a whistle on the shirt, and girls, randomly crazy, but would blow the whistle on the shirt. I was just that guy that did all those things, and I was just, charismatic and, always built a bond and relationship and a friendship with women instead of trying to knock everything down I saw.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, Coy, I want to, I always watch, they say study the greats, success leaves clues. When anybody's trying to break a record, where do they take you? you know, any hot song, you know, in Atlanta and in New York and all that, they take it to the strip club. And I was like, if I knew social media's popping, I knew I had to, quote unquote, you know, it was the girls that were always on the Explorer page. Guys look at women and women look at women.
Yep.
I have to break this through women type of thing. So people always wonder why the merch is kind of catered to women.
Yeah.
I mean, who's on the Explorer page?
Women.
A lot of, you know, no, quote unquote, a lot of my friends, or a lot of my friends that are my friends now, and a lot of, you know, I call you guys my friends because we are friends, even though we don't hang out. Like, we still text and everything, or I still DM you guys. You know, the podcast help us meet each other because of my friends showing love.
Yeah.
So I broke it in the strip club. I made the shorts, I made the crop tops, and it was like I kept everything in house. I didn't want to sell a piece of it. I didn't want to water it down. But I remember I always listened to, I guess, informational podcasts and just, you know, you can call them millionaires. Gary Vee, Ryan Leslie, Ice Cube, like all those guys were saying, like, you know, you can't, you know, Dame Dash, you can't say, you know, you a boss if you're not putting your own money behind it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do what I do best. I'm gonna do, because I know I can do merch. And I know, you know, I started, you know, I started the patch, and the patch got big. And it's one of your favorite things too. The Men Don't Know patch. It's simple. It's plain OG Men Don't Know podcast patch. Everybody is just like, it's a staple type of thing. You got a hat like that. You know, those hats don't get made anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The big patch hats.
Oh, the big ones,
the big patch hats don't get made anymore.
Big faces.
Yeah, I mean, so I did the booty shorts, the 70 shorts that you always see. My mom wanted to coin that. And I always want to do crop tops, bathing suits. I just wanted to keep an eye on the Men Don't Know podcast type of thing. And so we became, quote unquote, regulars in the strip club. And the dopest thing about that is when you're not a cheesy guy and you are regular and you're not there to, I don't want to say antagonize women, but you're just there to have a couple drinks and promote your brand.
Yeah.
Brand awareness. That's what happened. We started hanging out with all the girls, started giving them merch, and they started posting it and tagging me. And that's how the run up started. And, you know, I always tell people, you know, I never want to really kind of charge for just the logo, because the logo is, you know, what keeps the eyes on me. I don't pay for marketing. You know, that's why I give the merch out for free.
Yeah.
I could pay $1,000 for a billboard. I'd rather give $1,000 of merch out to everybody that's supporting and rocking with me. That's why I always say you could support the brand by buying it, but if you want to, just hit me. Like that, it's not about it's not about paying for it. It's about oh man, love the podcast, yada yada yada, love that shirt. No problem, I got you. But you got to realize, like, I got to put everybody in line, because so many people say, oh, let me get,
Yeah.
And I always told people, I was like, Dag, like, I'm trying to run this without ads.
Yeah. And you haven't.
I haven't, and I take a little sponsorship here and there from the sponsorships I did take while the pandemic hit, is because my boys hit me up and was like, hey man, can I get a shout out? No problem, I got you. If you give me, if you're gonna give me some, I did an alcohol brand.
Yeah.
And it was called New Vodka. And my boy that was working with somebody, COVID hit, everything was shut down. They sent a dozen bottles my way. So, I told him I shot him out for a month straight. Logo will be on the episode, yada, yada, yada. And then my boy, he had Sultan Premium Beverage. Big over in the UK, Europe, stuff like that. They're bringing it to the States. He hit me. And I was like, of course, say less. Like, I'm always about trying to, if you family, I didn't buy it to make a buck off of a friend.
Correct.
It's crazy. like the big brands that I want, like they're gonna cut the check. Like I rather, as much as I can, I'd rather keep dumping this merch out for free. Like it's just, it's the way y'all support me without saying you support me. I don't need you to post it, this and third. I know when you rock it because you tell me like that. Everybody keeps asking me. I tell them, listen on the show. It's like, and that's the real love right there. You sit back and you watch the buildup of this, and I always tell people we are 3.5 years, about to be 4 years in July. Uh-huh. Like 3 years in, like that, all from a good game of telephone. This is all it is, I ran a couple Facebook ads for like $10 and $15, which I really don't fucking count, but they were super dope, super easy, but to be honest with you, the ladies, the fellas, y'all posting up stickers, y'all traveling, y'all snap it, y'all post it on your page, tag where you're at. That goes a million ways farther than you ever think. And another reason why I didn't want to pay for ads or pay for promotion and stuff like that. Like if I give you a hat and the quality of my merch, like you said, A1, top 5, like you're going to wear it more than once.
Yeah.
5 or 6 times, right? 5 or 6 times in 5 or 6 different areas. You don't know how many people are looking at that. And I always tell guys, Doug, the logo or the patch, the Men Don't Know Podcast patch, that is the conversation starter beyond anything.
Right.
All this was opening up the communication back up with men and women. I created an opportunity and an opening for fellas that you didn't have to say anything for a girl to say, that's right, men don't know. And
opens up the communication barrier.
Boom. I've broken the ice. Because she's gonna like, oh, is that your podcast? I don't care what you say. You've just opened up the opportunity for you to engage with the woman. Now, if you listen to the podcast, I've already told you what not to say, what to wear, how to smell, what to order at the bar, where to sit. I've given you the tools and keys necessary to be able to drive this motherfucker for 1 million miles.
Right.
And I'm giving you the opportunity to learn, and you don't have to call it an opportunity. I don't have to give you, but it's an opportunity to learn what women are thinking and how to navigate through a conversation without fucking yourself over. Because a lot of times,
good advice through experience.
Yeah, good advice through experience. Because I feel like a lot of times, a lot of us guys either talk ourselves out of the pussy or not talk enough to get into the pussy. It's that fine line. What do they say? It's a thin line between opinions and hate.
Okay.
So it's just like, that's why, like, that's how it happened. And now, and I tell people that it's not this is a crock pot. This is going to take, when it does explode, speaking everything to existence, when it does explode, you got to remember, started this podcast, 5 listeners a week. 5 went to 25, 25 went to 75, 75 went to 125, 125 went to 500, 500 went to 2,000, 2,000 went to 3,500, 4,500 went to 7,000. Now we're traveling around 8,000 to 10,000 listeners a month, and everybody's listening through India, Israel, Canada, Australia, London. I mean, but it's because all it is, bro, is I tell everybody, I was like, it's a good game of telephone. I'm willing to drop the merch anywhere. I have no problems pushing the merch like I'm pushing a flyer. Yeah. All our boys, we used to hang out with a bunch of promoters in Vegas. All they would do was push the flyer. Talk it up. Now it's like, boom, this is, had a catchy name, flipped a catchy name to a logo thanks to my boy's girl that literally, she was like, I got something for you. She gave me the cast iron logo of the symbol that my merch is today with the headphone, with the hawk, had trademark, everything's going good. And she kind of like flipped it into a coin. She turned so now I can literally now pull, now it could just be the logo. Like everybody's, the logo
goes with the words.
Yeah, the logo's dope. Just the words is dope, but everything is fire, bro. Like I tell people all the time, you can say, just say what you want, but if I don't expect a dime, this was just purely out of, I just want to hang out with my friends again.
Yeah, I remember you said that in the beginning.
I was like, Dad, we used to always hang out. We used to all da-da-da-da-da. And literally what happened is I started bringing everybody back around the house, and everybody's hanging out. Everybody's drinking. Everybody's having a good time. We bringing that backyard barbecue back into existence through the podcast of having 8 to 10 people over, 20 people over. Kick back. I have to split it up. Guys go first, and then the women go first. There's 30 people here. And you get that nonchalant and that good time vibe, and everybody there, and everybody's not arguing, but everybody's giving their points and opinion to understand each other. And literally, like I said, that's how it happened. It literally happened with an idea. I push an idea, and I'm the type of guy that whenever I have an idea, and I don't know if Coy likes it or hates it, but I'll go all in on an idea. I think I'm good. Like, I'm like, hey, Coy, let's start shooting video. Get this camera. And for some reason you do. But I mean, we make the money back. So yeah. I don't want to say we don't, but we're good at what we do. And because of the friendship, I couldn't have anybody else on here because I know where it's about to go and I know where it's about to take it. And if we've done everything else together, why not this? And that's how the podcast started. And that's how me and Coy met. And that's how we worked so well together because we've, I guess, quote unquote, been partying and working together at jobs for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think
about
the dynamics of me and you in this?
I mean, it's kind of like a team that has two players that played together. They know each other, instead of just sticking random pieces together. If you take two guys that are just like, hey, you want to do a podcast with me? Sure. But they don't really know each other. Mm-hmm. You can't just do that because you have to kind of know what to feed off of, what to say. Might not have as many things in common to talk about. Mm-hmm. Might not have the same friends. Might not have the same inside jokes that you can elaborate on. Yeah. Just things, and the fact that it's not like when you hit record, this is the only time we talk. We're friends outside, and we go through a lot of shit, and we joke around about a bunch of shit, real shit, fake shit, fun shit, and it definitely helps when you're talking with somebody to know and to keep the conversation fresh, and then to apply that to the other people that we talk to too. Yeah. And the people that we talk to, your friends, I know them as well. And so a lot of them are my friends too. Yeah. So we could always have a good time when we talk about it and just get different opinions and different situations from everybody.
Yeah. I think we're opposite of each other, but not all the way opposite.
Right.
I think we have a little bit of different views.
Think about all of our friends. We're friends with them for a long time, but we're all a little different from each other. Otherwise, if you're exactly the same as everybody, then it's like you have stuff in common, but you might get sick of that person or whatever, Like other people, you have a big group of friends and they all are different. You can always learn something different from all of them, which is kind of the idea of your podcast. Like a married guy, single guy, you can't be asking certain questions that people that don't know. Like, when in your relationship throughout the years, this guy's single. He doesn't have any say in this.
Yeah, 100%.
Same guy you're gonna ask, hey, when you're out, what do you do with the girls? Like, well, this guy's been married for 10 years. He's not out. He doesn't know anything. So you gotta have a good mix.
Yeah, damn, man. But I mean, yeah, sure. I like that. I didn't think about that. He said when you call the married guy, he hasn't been out for a decade.
Yeah. You call the guy that just broke up to see what he's about. Call the guy that's just in a relationship, see what that's about.
Yeah.
But man. Going back to the the patch and the word, the name of the podcast. It is a conversation starter because when girls see it, we've all been a part of it too. And especially when girls have drinks or whatever. Men don't know. Yeah, damn right, men don't know. Then it's up to you to not be an idiot. And what do you mean? I'm not talking about me. I know everything. Jesus Christ.
Here we go. Mr. Advice. Oh, man. All right, man. I appreciate it. First of all, I want to thank everybody for listening. Whether you listen to it on Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you downloaded that Men Don't Know podcast app, I can't thank y'all enough. Merch store is open as always, but like I said, hit me up on Instagram at Men Don't Know, Twitter at Men Don't Know 1. Shoot me an email, chris@mendontknow.com, or hop on the mendontknow.com website and shoot me a message. Koi, my guy, always a pleasure. Nearing 400, we are out.
How many pictures are on Yelp? Pull up all these pictures and you're like, oh, that's the dessert you're eating? All right, Michelle. That's the candle? Okay, that's the same candle. I know where you're at.
45 minutes to an hour.
45 minutes to an hour. Wait, can you run that long? No offense.
That's how I got married, dog. You know, first date, bro.
Was that what you did?
Yeah, my first date with her.
And look at
I think a guy's more comfortable being alone than